So this news came out. If you don't know who Ellen Greenberg is, we'll go into her background in just a little bit. But let's first tell you about Josh Shapiro. Do you guys remember when Josh Shapiro was rumored to be the vice presidential candidate for Kamala Harris?
For a week.
Now, if you don't know who Josh Shapiro is, he is currently the governor of Pennsylvania, but he used to be the district attorney of Philadelphia. Whatever county Philadelphia is technically located in, Allegheny County or Bucks County. But anyway, Ellen Greenberg was a teacher that was found dead inside of her apartment, and the circumstances regarding her death have always been suspicious. And what it looks like is that there was a cover-up within the district attorney's office to have this death ruled a suicide rather than a murder, because the person who was engaged to Ellen Greenberg at the time of her death had a familial relationship with the district attorney at the time, Josh Shapiro, who then became the governor. Let's go back to August 2nd of this year. This is a Mediaite story. Video posted by Philly mayor touting Shapiro as VP sparks confusion and speculation. Laughing my ass off, did the mayor accidentally leak it? According to Mediaite, back on August 2nd, the mayor of Philadelphia, her name is Sherelle Parker, posted a tweet with a video saying that she was proud to be supporting Harris for president and Shapiro for vice president. Take a look. Here's the tweet, the next slide that we have right there. Proud to be back with so many leaders from across our region supporting Kamala Harris for president and Josh Shapiro for vice president. This leaked before the announcement had been made that Josh Shapiro was even being considered for the vice presidential ticket. Here is the video, if you want to play the video. This is the campaign ad that was accidentally released early by the mayor of Philadelphia announcing Josh Shapiro as vice presidential candidate.
Philadelphia, we got work to do.
We're ready to rumble, y'all.
I'm Mayor Sherelle Parker, here with leaders from across our region.
Kamala Harris is on the road to victory.
And the road goes through Pennsylvania.
And in Pennsylvania, we're united behind her. The woman that's tough and can lead.
Are we ready to fight for it?
Oh, she makes me want to puke. I forgot how much she made me want to puke.
This job.
It's gonna do right by labor. It's gonna do right by working people.
And I can't think of a better partner than our Governor Josh Shapiro.
His policies have not only supported the working class, but have set standards for
like
progressive leadership that benefits all citizens.
I just thought it was
You can pause it.
name promotion.
No, I think that's they're backing him.
But I mean, she literally says in the tweet, though, supporting Kamala Harris for president and Josh Shapiro for vice president.
She's supporting Josh Shapiro as VP and not it's been picked. Like I always thought it might have been to push Kamala to pick Josh and not leak by accident.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting. So this comes out on August 2nd. Then August 5th, this report comes out. Parents of Ellen Greenberg, teacher found stabbed 10 times in head, neck, win the right to challenge the suicide ruling. So did they say Aaron? I thought her name was Ellen. They must have accidentally wrote Aaron by accident. But in this article, they talk about Ellen's parents suing petitioning the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to reopen her case, to look at her case as a case of murder as opposed to suicide. In the article dated August 5th, remember that video was leaked August 2nd.
Yes.
August 5th, in the article, the New York Post writes, last week, which would have been July 29th, through August 2nd. That ad came out on a Friday. Greenberg's parents broke ground when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court granted their appeal to hear the case. So the same week that the tweet is leaked, that Josh Shapiro is running for vice president, is the same exact week in which Ellen Greenberg's parents petitioned to have the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania reopen the investigation into her death. If you don't know the case of Ellen Greenberg, this is Ellen Greenberg. She was a 27-year-old Philadelphia teacher who was found dead inside of her apartment. The date was January 26th of 2011. She was found dead with over 20 stab wounds to her body. In fact, these are the beginning. Like, this is where they say she stabbed herself in the front.
That's the front, Rob. Have you ever, the fact that it took 10, it boggles my mind. Just seeing that, who the hell kills himself By stabbing that's not a suicide. What the hell are we talking about?
What are we looking at in the
That's
image?
like that's a fake body that they use, and they just show you the actual.
But take a look at this next photo.
Yeah, go to the
Because if
next
you
one.
think these marks are suspicious,
Are you freaking kidding me?
those are the stab wounds that happened to the back of her head. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert in suicide because I haven't done it myself.
What about physics, though?
I don't know even how you would.
But anyone that had arms for over 30 years knows.
No, wait, Rob, finish what you're saying.
So her death is ruled as suicide, right?
Unbelievable.
They look at that, even though there's like weird, like the family. First, the medical examiner, Marlon Osborne, the original person that investigated the death, he determined that the teacher's death was a homicide. But then he later reversed course and amended the ruling to be a suicide more than a month later after he met with officials from the district attorney's office and the police department. Greenberg's family hired a team of experts who pointed out that the knife in her apartment was overturned, possibly suggesting that she had been involved in a struggle. Plus, there was a gash to the back of her head, not to mention the multiple stab wounds. Who, when you kill yourself, and I hate to be that guy, but if you're going to do it, don't you do arms this way?
Arms,
and
or
then
neck.
you're done.
Yeah, you're
Who
finished.
stabs themselves all over to do it?
It's fake. I don't believe none of that shit.
So those are the stab wounds. Then I came across, so this ruling happens on August 5th. So remember, timeline of events. August 2nd, tweet is leaked. Josh Shapiro is going to be VP. August 5th, parents win the right to reopen the investigation into the case of petition the Supreme Court. August 6th, Philadelphia Inquirer then releases an article. Governor Josh Shapiro and the Ellen Greenberg case explained. And what this does is this details Josh Shapiro's involvement in the case. But it's even seedier than what the Philadelphia Inquirer reports, and we'll get to it in just a second.
Yeah, Rob, I just had to Google because I'm asking myself, like, you stab yourself 20 times, how many of them would have been fatal? This is from Grok, but listen to this. One stab wound cut her aorta, which would be immediately fatal due to massive blood loss. One penetrated her liver, which could be fatal depending on the extent of the damage. Stab wounds to the brain and one through the spinal column were also likely fatal, as these injuries would cause severe neurological damage and immediate incapacitation.
There's no way
so how do you cut your aorta and then cut your spinal column?
You can't.
Or how do you cut your spinal column and then stab yourself in the aorta?
No.
Sorry, just had to highlight.
And what is your background in medical
I
examinations?
have a brain, and I can put two and two
Those
together.
are dangerous. I've been trying
So
to
I
ban them
can't,
for a long
Rob,
time.
go because I can't wait to what the motive for this piece of scum to do this to the family and lie. But go ahead.
So credit to this guy, Gavin Fish. Gavin Fish is an independent reporter and investigative journalist. He started digging more into Ellen's death, and he discovered a very odd timeline. I'm going to lay out the timeline for you guys. There's a bunch of high-profile Philadelphia attorneys that are involved in how this ties back to Josh Shapiro, besides him just being the district attorney at the time. So Ellen Greenberg's fiance is a guy named Sam Goldberg. He calls 911 to report that Ellen was laying on the floor with blood everywhere. This phone call takes place the day that she's murdered or dies via suicide, January 26th at 2011. The phone call is placed at 6:31. Remember that time, 6:31 p.m. According to Goldberg, when he talks to 911, he tells them that he left his 6th-floor apartment 45 minutes earlier to work out. The gym is on the 1st floor. I got to imagine that's a quick workout. How often do you work out?
5 times a week, but I do.
What's your average workout time?
An hour at least.
Is that include cardio or without cardio?
No, cardio is a whole another half an hour.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So it's usually, for me, I do a half-hour cardio. I know you're going to make jokes.
Don't make fun of my friend.
I do a half-hour cardio, and then it's between an hour, hour and 15 of heavy weights. So you're looking at an hour and 45.
At least.
This guy's saying he did the workout in 45 minutes.
I don't believe that. You just stretch for freaking 10 minutes.
When he comes back, he says that the door was locked from the inside, so he had to break through the door.
Why would he have done that?
To break into his own apartment?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Like,
You would have keys if the door was locked.
Or you just assume that she's not there, and you don't break it down just on the first 5 minutes.
I call the manager.
Okay,
Open my
sorry.
door.
So according to Gavin Fish, that 6:31 p.m. phone call wasn't the first phone call. Actually, when he came back from the gym at 6:14, he actually, according to Gavin Fish, who spoke with a confidential source who was briefed on the case, Sam Goldberg, Ellen Greenberg's fiance, actually called his cousin, Cayman Schwartzman, at 6:14. That call lasts about 5 minutes, which takes you to 6:19. Now, you got to think, if you walked into her apartment, you found your wife or soon-to-be wife murdered on the floor, you don't call your cousin. You call 911 first. But this guy called his cousin. Then he also calls his uncle, James Schwartzman. That phone call takes place at 6:26 p.m. So the guy makes 2 phone calls before calling 911 to 2 members of his immediate family, Cayman Schwartzman and James Schwartzman, who are both high-profile attorneys in the city of Philadelphia.
So many stereotypes going on in this story right now.
Schwartzman,
Goldberg, lawyers, and then there's a doctor coming in, right?
Well, so then here's where it gets even more interesting. According to reports, Cayman Schwartzman and James Schwartzman then actually go back to Ellen Greenberg's apartment that she shares with Sam Goldberg, the scene of the crime, and he goes to actually retrieve what they call a suit for him to wear at Ellen's upcoming funeral. What they actually grab is Ellen's laptop, her work laptop, another laptop, and her cell phone from the crime scene. I don't know in what world would anybody be able to go into a crime scene and take electronic devices out?
Period.
But according to Gavin Fish, again, this is according to his reports on this case, not mine, the investigative journalist who started connecting the dots, the laptops get taken from Ellen Greenberg's apartment. However, they are returned 2 days later to the Philadelphia Police Department. So the items that they took from the crime scene, they returned. But this gets even deeper. Okay, so Cayman Schwartzman, who is the cousin of Sam Goldberg, whose father is James Schwartzman, is also the brother of Kimberly Schwartzman Kimmel. Now, we have some photos. Here's the first photo of Kimberly Schwartzman. There they are. Kimberly Schwartzman and the Attorney General for the city of Philadelphia, the county that Philadelphia is in, the current governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. The 2 of them actually went to the same school together. Here's a photo of them from a Hebrew Academy in Pennsylvania, Akiba Hebrew Academy. They went to a 1988 class reunion. So those 2 know each other from high school. In addition to that, Kimberly Schwartzman Kimmel, who also has a daughter who attends the same Hebrew Academy as Josh Shapiro. And that's a photo of them together at a cheerleader rally.
Weird.
So the woman who has a direct relationship to Josh Shapiro is the sister of the cousin of Ellen Greenberg's fiance, who called his cousin when he discovered his fiance dead of more than 20 stab wounds in their apartment. And by the way, here are some political donations, so there's even a money trail to this. Kimberly Schwartzman had donated $3,000 to Josh Shapiro's governor campaign in 2000 and I'm not sure of the year. It's either his district, one of his elections.
2010.
2010. So that was when he was district attorney. And then also the father, Sam Goldberg's father, Ronald Goldberg, also made political.
Richard Goldberg.
Richard Goldberg, sorry, also made, Richard Goldberg, Sam Goldberg's father, also made political donations to Josh Shapiro's family. So what this looks like to somebody standing on the outside is that there are obviously ties between Sam Goldberg and Josh Shapiro.
100%.
If you're looking at this, and according to Gavin Fish, if Gavin's Fish reporting is accurate, then there is a direct link between Sam Goldberg and Josh Shapiro, and that is Cayman, James, and Kimberly Schwartzman, who all have relationships with Josh Shapiro. Why would they cover up a murder? I don't know. I'm not saying that they did. I'm saying all of this looks very suspect. But here is Fox News. The reason we're bringing this back up, again, you can go back and watch the deep dive that we did on this on August 8th's podcast. But we started looking into this then. And then just this week, it was ruled death of teacher with 20 stab wounds to be re-examined as parents settle with the city. The city of Philadelphia has settled with the parents of Ellen Greenberg, agreeing to re-examine her 2011 death. Dr. Marlon Osborne, the pathologist who initially ruled Greenberg's death a suicide after consulting with the police, has now stated that her manner of death should be classified as something other than suicide. All of this just seems very, very suspect to me.
What? Because I have my opinion.
It's patently absurd to have qualified that as suicide. Period. With the idea that someone might be into self-harm and they yada yada.
No.
Stab wounds to the back of the head. The nature of those stab wounds, implausible. If you're going to try to cover it up, you might want to go with homicide and we can't find the culprit. The Goldberg who made the calls to his cousin,
Yes.
Did
Sam.
he have any? Do you know if he had any indications of injury to himself? Because I'm imagining you stab someone 20 some odd times, there's going to be a fight, and I wonder if he showed any scratch
Any
wounds or whatever.
signs of any?
No, I couldn't find anything about that. But what I did find was weird was that he did end up marrying a different woman just a few years. I got to find the timeline.
What's her last name?
2014. I got to imagine after I love my wife. If she were to die and it'd be a horrible thing, like a garage door accidentally falls on her multiple times, and then she's not able to come out of the coma, it would take me some time to move on.
You realize if that, God forbid,
You've given this some thought, I can see.
No, not at all. Definitely not. And I already
Isn't the garage where you work out and do most of your research?
Yes, there's
for
a
these
lot of
things?
heavy weights in there as well. If she were to slip and hit her head, it'd be tragic. I don't think within 3 years I would marry somebody completely different. I mean, guys, how long did you know your wife before you married her?
We were together almost 3 years before we got
Okay.
married.
How long were you with your wife before you married her?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5. How long were you with
8
your
years
wife?
we've been together since 1999.
Mine
This
was no, I'm single.
This guy ends up losing his fiance, terrible, and then in 3 years not only meets a girl, gets engaged to a different girl, and then marries that girl. Just all of the timing just seems so weird to me.
It's very weird. I mean, okay, there's no killer, and like just like with OJ, everybody knew. Everybody knew. Nobody could say because of the riots, what they did with Ronnie King. People were like, "Listen, he has to go. The glove fit doesn't equate. Whatever the hell." It seems very, very, very suspicious. Going back to the initial thing, where we're not stupid. The fact that they said, "Okay, homicide," and then it seemed like if I was if this was a movie, you know what people would say? If this was a movie, mind you, people would say, okay, this guy probably offed her or something happened. Because, by the way, if you get the first stabbing, they're done. There's no battle wounds. There's no nothing. And then you call people that are connected in the district attorney's office. You make all these phone calls, and they're like, hey, listen, she killed herself. Done deal, closed story. Now it's 11 years later. You're trying to run for freaking vice president. Shit's going to be coming out. This seems, somebody could assume that this was a murder covered up because everybody knew each other and everybody would take care of each other. I'm pretty sure if you ask the chat, Humberto, who thinks that this was a suicide from the beginning?
did.
How many people?
92% said yes, he did it.
What? No, 8% of you
Said no. Yeah.
Well, no, the 8% might say he was
trolling.
murdered and someone else did it.
okay.
Like, so.
But so the reason why I bring all of this up is because if you look back at the timeline, what it says to me is that perhaps Josh Shapiro, this is my opinion, and I'm just purely
It's an
speculating.
opinion. You can have it.
Yes, but Josh Shapiro was allegedly picked by the campaign to be the vice presidential candidate. However, at the same time that this was coming out, the ruling between the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania and Ellen Greenberg's family also became public knowledge, and then the media picked up on it. And so the Kamala Harris campaign had no other direction but to pivot. They could not have this guy as the vice presidential candidate with these investigations ongoing. So they went and they grabbed the possibly worst other scenario was Tim Waltz. That guy was
Tampon Tim?
He was cringe every time he opened his mouth. It was uncomfortable to watch.
Excuse me, David Hogg says he is the true measure of a man.
Yeah,
Rob.
watch your mouth.
Yeah,
Watch
so
your
one
mouth.
twink praising another twink. Great.
And Rob, I saw that video of the mom and dad coming out, and it was freaking sad.
Can you
as
imagine
shit,
being
bro.
the parents and having to have someone tell you, yeah, your daughter committed suicide by stabbing herself? It's almost as bad as saying, yeah, your son committed suicide. He hung himself, shot himself twice with a shotgun, and the shotgun was found 30 feet from his body.
Weird, yeah.
That was one of the Clinton Arkansas cases. But no, it's clear there's a cover-up. The only question is, what is it if it's just connections and buddies covering up for buddies?
And the other thing we're not covering, what was the intent of this? Was it like a King Charles trying to get rid of the wife to get another one?
I don't know.
Is it
fiance, but
political?
yeah, who-
Was it madness from
Yeah,
his part?
and yeah. Did they even look for where's the killer? Who's the killer? There's no leads in that. Let me explain something to you.
What's the intent?
Yeah, intent. And if there is now it's not a suicide. The guy said it was a homicide at the begining. Where's the evidence? There has to be boot marks. Bro, you cannot stab somebody that many times without something, movement, clothing. This is horseshit, bro.
In an apartment building where there's presumably cameras, entries, people
Bullshit.
entering.
I don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.